Lilly just built a drug discovery supercomputer. The $200 billion pharma race has begun. Here is a number that will help you understand what we're talking about today. $200 billion. That is approximately how much the global pharmaceutical industry spends on research and development every single year. Not revenue, not profit, research and development. The money spent on scientists, laboratories, clinical trials, animal studies, regulatory submissions, failed experiments, and the endless grind of trying to figure out which molecules, out of the essentially infinite number of possible molecules, might become a medicine that helps a human being. $200 billion a year. And historically, about 90% of the drugs that enter clinical testing never make it to a pharmacy shelf. They fail for reasons related to safety, for reasons related to efficacy, for reasons that weren't predictable from the early stage science. 9 out of every 10 drug candidates fail, and the ones that succeed take an average of 10 to 15 years and over $1 billion each to develop from initial discovery to FDA approval. This is why drugs are expensive. Not entirely, not the only reason, but it is a significant part of the reason. The cost of all the failures gets built into the price of the successes, and patients pay it. Now here is what is changing. In 2026, Lilly, one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world, the company behind insulin, Prozac, and the blockbuster weight loss drug Mounjaro, inaugurated a facility at their Indianapolis headquarters called LillyPod. LillyPod is the world's first pharmaceutical AI supercomputer built on NVIDIA's DGX SuperPod architecture with DGX B300 systems. It is powered by 1016 NVIDIA Blackwell Ultra GPUs. It delivers over 9,000 petaflops of AI computing performance, and it was assembled in just 4 months. To give you a sense of what 9,000 petaflops means in practical terms, a petaflop is 1 quadrillion mathematical operations per second. LillyPod performs 9,000 of those every second. This is not a server room with some AI software running on it. This is a purpose-built machine designed from the ground up to do one thing: find drugs, faster than any human team ever could, at a scale that wasn't possible even 2 years ago. LillyPod is being used for large-scale training of protein diffusion models, genomics research, and clinical development work. In plain language, that means it is helping scientists understand the structure and behavior of the biological molecules involved in disease, design new molecular compounds that might interact with those targets in therapeutically useful ways, and analyze genomic data to understand why certain people respond to certain drugs while others don't. Lilly is not the only one moving in this direction. They are the most dramatic example of the moment, but across the pharmaceutical industry, the same race is underway. Google DeepMind, OpenAI, Anthropic, and dozens of specialized biotech AI companies are all competing for pieces of a market that is being reshaped faster than most people outside the industry realize. Let's back up and explain why this moment is different. Why now? Why 2026 and not 2015 or 2010, when people were already talking about AI in drug discovery? The answer comes down to a few converging developments that happened in a short window of time. The first was AlphaFold. In 2020, Google DeepMind's AlphaFold system solved one of biology's hardest problems, predicting the three-dimensional structure of a protein from its genetic sequence alone. This matters enormously because proteins are the workhorses of biology. Every process in your body, digestion, immune response, memory formation, wound healing, is carried out by proteins. And understanding how a drug might interact with a protein requires knowing what that protein looks like in 3 dimensions. Before AlphaFold, determining protein structure experimentally was extraordinarily difficult and time-consuming. A research lab could spend years figuring out the structure of a single protein using techniques like X-ray crystallography. AlphaFold can now predict structures in minutes, with accuracy that rivals experimental methods. And DeepMind has made the predicted structures of essentially all known proteins, hundreds of millions of them, publicly available to researchers around the world. The implications of this are hard to overstate. Researchers who used to spend years determining a single protein structure can now start from a predicted structure in minutes and move directly to the question of how to design a drug that interacts with it. AlphaFold didn't just speed up one step in the drug discovery process. It removed a bottleneck that had constrained the entire field for decades. The second development was the rise of generative AI in chemistry. The same underlying technology that allows large language models to generate coherent text has been applied to molecules. Generative chemistry AI can design novel molecular compounds from scratch. exploring regions of chemical space that no human chemist has ever visited, proposing structures that might have therapeutic properties, and doing so at a scale and speed that is completely beyond what a human team could achieve manually. The technical term for this is de novo drug design. You tell the AI what biological target you want to hit, what properties you need the molecule to have: solubility, stability, the ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, low toxicity, and the AI generates candidate molecules, not one or two, thousands, millions if needed, and then additional AI systems screen those candidates computationally, predicting which ones are most likely to work before anyone makes them in a physical lab. This fundamentally changes the economics of early-stage drug discovery. The most expensive part of finding a drug used to be the screening process, synthesizing and testing compound after compound in the lab until you found something promising. AI compresses that phase dramatically by doing most of the screening computationally in silico before physical synthesis begins. Only the most promising candidates go into the lab. The failure rate at the physical testing stage goes down, time goes down, cost goes down. The third development was the accumulation of biological data at a scale that makes AI training meaningful. Drug discovery AI needs data to learn from, and over the last decade, the volume of biological data, genomic sequences, protein interaction databases, clinical trial results, electronic health records, imaging studies, biomarker measurements, has grown exponentially. We now have the data to train models that are genuinely powerful, not just promising. Let's talk about some of the specific companies that are riding this wave, because if you're interested in the business and investment angle, these are the names worth knowing. Recursion Pharmaceuticals is a clinical stage biotech company that has built its entire business model around AI-driven drug discovery. They've built one of the largest proprietary biological datasets in the world and use it to train AI models that identify drug candidates. They're publicly traded and have partnerships with multiple large pharmaceutical companies. Schrödinger is a company that sells AI-powered molecular simulation software to pharmaceutical and biotech companies. They also run their own internal drug discovery programs. They're publicly traded and have established relationships with most of the major pharmaceutical companies. In Silico Medicine is another AI drug discovery company that has used AI to design drug candidates for multiple diseases and has several compounds in clinical trials. Their work on idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis was one of the first instances of an AI-designed drug candidate advancing to human clinical testing. At the startup level, Y Combinator, the most prestigious startup accelerator in the world, has backed multiple companies in this space. Oleo Labs is using AI to develop combination therapeutics that account for the complexity of interacting proteins in ways that single-target drugs cannot. White Lab Genomics is using AI to accelerate the discovery and design of genomic therapies. And then there are the large platforms. Benchling has co-developed AI tools with Amazon for pharmaceutical research workflows. The major chemical and biological software suites, Schrödinger and Biovia, have integrated machine learning modules. The entire infrastructure of pharmaceutical research is being upgraded with AI capabilities. Now let's talk about what this means if you are not a pharmaceutical company or a venture capital fund. What does it mean for a regular person who is thinking about how to participate in this shift? On the investment side, the options range from buying individual stocks in AI-driven pharma companies like Recursion or Schrödinger, to looking at ETFs with biotech and health technology exposure, to watching the broader Lilly, Pfizer, and Merck trajectories as they deploy AI capabilities and potentially shorten their development timelines. None of this is investment advice. These are areas worth your own research, but the trend is clearly legible. On the career side, the opportunity is significant and it is earlier stage than most people realize. The pharmaceutical industry is desperate for people who can work at the intersection of biology and AI. Not necessarily people who are world-class in both, but people who understand the language of both worlds well enough to translate between them. Clinical trial AI specialists who understand how to design and implement AI-assisted trial protocols. Regulatory affairs analysts who understand how to navigate FDA and EMA requirements for AI-assisted drug development, which are becoming their own specialized discipline as regulatory frameworks for AI in pharma are being actively written right now. Computational biologists who apply machine learning to biological datasets. Data scientists who understand the specific data types and privacy requirements of pharmaceutical research. These roles exist at pharmaceutical companies, at biotech startups, at the AI companies that sell tools to pharma, and at research institutions. And because the field is so new, the talent pool is thin relative to demand. That creates real opportunity for people who build the right skills now before the field matures and becomes competitive. Here is the big picture on where where all of this is going. The traditional drug discovery model, which has dominated pharmaceutical research for most of the last century, is based on a certain relationship between time, cost, and probability. It takes a long time, it costs a lot, and most of it fails. AI is attacking all three of those parameters simultaneously, reducing the time, reducing the cost, and improving the probability that a candidate that enters clinical testing will actually work. If AI reduces the failure rate of drug candidates in clinical trials by even 20 or 30%, not an implausible goal given the evidence so far, the implications for the economics of the pharmaceutical industry are massive. Billions of dollars currently spent on failed trials could be redirected. Development timelines could shorten by years. And in theory, some portion of those savings could translate into lower prices for patients, though how that plays out in practice depends on competitive and regulatory dynamics that are still evolving. The drug that saves your life in 20 years may already be in a database somewhere, in the form of a protein structure predicted by AlphaFold, waiting for a generative AI model to design the right molecule, waiting for a system like LillyPod to run the simulation that identifies it. The machinery that finds that drug is being built right now, and the companies and people building it are in the early innings of something genuinely historic. Subscribe if you want to follow this story as it develops. We're covering the full transformation of AI in medicine and pharmaceutical research over the coming weeks. What comes next is the part of this story most people don't know about yet: the emergence of entirely virtual clinical trials, where AI simulates patients rather than enrolling them. That one is coming up next.